Hello, you're welcome. Welcome to this live session. If you can hear me, hello, you're welcome. Welcome to this live
If you
session.
can
If you
hear me,
can
please
hear me,
signify.
hello, you're welcome. Welcome to this. If you can hear me, just let me know in the comment section. You can post on the comment section if you have if you have joined us in this live Q&A session. All right, you're welcome. You're welcome to this live Q&A session. If you are a new subscriber here, this is Life Beyond Borders, and my name is Olugbenga. And as at the time of having this live session, I'm currently a master student here at the University of Alabama in the US. Currently studying Master of Music. I'm a second year master student. So you are welcome. This live session is to I decided to have this first of all as a celebration and a form of showing appreciation to all our subscribers, those who have helped us to get to 1,000 subscribers. I know we can do better, but again, I appreciate everyone who have been watching our videos, giving all the likes, giving all the comments, and most especially those who have been taking steps towards their study abroad journey. So if you have been taking steps towards your study abroad journey, you have been checking schools, maybe you have not submitted the application yet. That's why we are having this section. So you are welcome. So if you can hear me very well, can you make a comment? Um, can you make a comment in the comment section? Can you type something? Just type something. You can type your name. Let me know where you are watching from. You can type your name, your city, or your country. Maybe if you are from Nigeria, you can type your name. I'm watching from Lagos. I'm watching from Abia. If I'm from Ghana, I am watching from Accra. I'm watching from, wherever you're watching from, Kumasi. Just let us know. If you are from India, we have some people from Bangladesh. Anywhere you're watching me from, just type in the comments section so that we'll be aware that we have people. So as we wait for others to join, oh, that's great. So I have Pradeep from Nepal. Pradeep from Nepal. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Guys, as you come in, just make a comment. Yes, I can see you, Pradeep. Pradeep Sharma from Nepal. Yes, thank you very much for joining. Very soon we'll enter into a session of question and answer. So if you have your questions, just write them down. What you will do is you are going to actually post them in the comment section here, and then we'll be able to answer it live. Okay, yes, I'm doing fine. Pradeep, you're asking me how I'm doing. Yes, doing very fine here, and I'm excited to be here. Okay, okay, I can call you Dev, right? Yeah. Yeah, all right. That's great. That's great. Okay, so as we wait for others to join, I just want to run through this common mistakes that people make, while they are trying to apply to school abroad, in their study abroad application, study abroad process. I'm going to go through some of those few mistakes so that you can know how to avoid them. Yes, you can ask question. Pradeep, I'm going to, request for questions very soon. But let's wait a bit for others to join. But while we are waiting for others to join, because you are one of the first persons to join, I'm going to have, while we are answering our question, we are also going to be going through some tips, some strategies. But today I want to address the common mistakes that people make, okay, in their study abroad journey. And that is what we are going to start with. Then we'll go into question and answer. So, yes, definitely just hold your question, Dev. I'm going to answer your question. All right. So, but before we do that, I want us to, to quickly do this. So, what are the common mistakes that people do in their study abroad, in the process of studying abroad? What are the common mistakes and how can you avoid them? Number one mistake is having the wrong mindset. Having the wrong mindset. All right. A lot of people have the wrong mindset. If you are from Nigeria, you are familiar with the word jackpot. Some people have the mindset of jackpot from the beginning. And honestly, it's not going to work if you have that mindset. Whatever you have in mind, maybe at the end of the day, that's what you have in mind, right? But in the application process, you want to put that aside, right? Because you'll be frustrated if that is the only motivation you have, if that is the only thing driving you, to study abroad, because you will not be able to go through the process. This process takes a lot. It takes dedication, it takes patience, and it takes a lot of things. But if you are approaching it with the Japa mindset, for instance, it's not going to work because you won't do things the right way. You will be in a hurry, because you are looking at the maybe economic situation of your country, and then you just want to flee or something like that, and you won't be able to do the right thing. You won't be able to, you know, maybe the right thing like searching for school, patiently waiting for the response from professors and all of those things that takes patience. All right, you won't be able to go through this process because you have the wrong mindset. Some people also have the mindset that they just need to, sit there and let things happen. You need to change your mindset. It starts from there. All right. If you are just joining, this is the live Q&A session with Life Beyond Borders. My name is Olugbenga once again. Currently a master student here at the University of Alabama. So if you are just joining, it's a Q&A session. But before we go into the Q&A session, I'm just sharing with you some of the common mistakes that people make in applying to study abroad, most especially the US, UK, Canada, and also even European countries. Some of these mistakes are common. So if you are just joining me, please, I can see some people that have joined. Can you just type your name? It'll be just your first name, your name and the city where you are watching me for, where you are joining from. And very soon we are going to be dropping our question. All right, you can. I think you can drop your question anyway. Then I'll be picking the questions one after the other and be responding to them. All right. So you can drop your questions if you are there. Dev, you're the first person to make comments. You can drop your question on the chat box there, and whoever is watching also, um, go ahead and drop your question, and we are going to address them now. We're going to address them. Yes, let me see. All right. So go ahead and drop your question in the comments section. Then um, I'm going to try as much as possible to answer the questions. All right. So, and I was saying that the common mistakes that people make in their study abroad application, the first thing I mentioned is the fact that people approach it with the wrong mindset. Some people approach it with a too relaxed mindset. Some people are too relaxed. They are just doing things in a slow way. Sometimes it may be your nature. Maybe you are the cool type, you are the cool guy or the cool girl, and then just approach things slowly and all that. You need to have a mindset of I need this thing and I need to give it all it takes. So changing your mindset is the first thing you want to do. Whatever is your end goal, maybe your end goal is to go and study and come back to your country. Maybe your end goal is, if you have an opportunity to um, go to other countries from the country where you studied, or you have opportunity to, to remain here, to do other things, to explore. Whatever is your end goal, you want to put that aside. Have the mindset that I am going to study and I need to prepare myself for that. Maybe you have even graduated from university for a very long time. Now you want to put on a hat of a scholar. You want to put on a hat of a student and start studying, start reading. When I mean reading, I'm not saying start reading calculus and all that, but again, it takes you to do that. You need to, but start putting that mindset of somebody who wants to apply to university and start thinking like that. I always tell people, for instance, if you're applying for a PhD, start thinking like a scholar. Be familiar with the citations, be familiar with scholars in your field, the top scholars in your field, and read their articles, you should be familiar with some of these things, because those are the things you are going to include in your, in your application, right? And you are going to come across all of them. So you need to change your mindset. That's the first mistake. People don't change their mindset. People still approach it with the same mindset. Yes. So I can see your question. Yes, Dave, I can see your question. So the first question Dave is asking, and I'm going to answer the question before I continue, the common mistakes that we make. Since this live session is about question and answer, so just bring your question. If you are watching, just type your question in the comment section. So the first question I have here is, I'm writing SOP right now. Can you suggest affordable universities in Texas for masters in agriculture, specifically for tough grass or horticulture? Okay, so you're asking if I can suggest. So I think what we can do is this. If it is about suggesting, I don't, because that's not my course anyway. So one thing you want to do is know how to search. And one of the two videos that I dropped at the beginning of this, when I started this channel, was about how to search for universities. Okay. And I actually took people to how to search from zero. Most of the things that I've been doing on this channel, I've been bringing schools, universities. From my own personal research, I will research universities, maybe it's universities that have funding, universities that are waiving application fee and all of that. I will research, I will check them, and I will bring them to you. That is what I've been doing mostly in this channel. But one other thing that I did in a particular video that I did earlier on, I can see Kende, you are welcome. You're happy to be here. I'm happy to see you also. If you have your question, please just drop it in the comment section, and I'm going to be providing answers to as much as I can. Just mention your name and also where you are watching from, where you are joining from, wherever you're joining from, your city or your state or your country. Just mention your name. Once again, I am Olugbenga, and I'm currently master's student of music at the University of Alabama. So, and I also want to let everyone know that whatever course you study, there is scholarship for you. There is funding opportunity for you. People always say, this is the course I study. I studied Yoruba engineering. I study I study history, I study philosophy. It seems that there is no scholarship in this area. Whatever course you study, as far as studying in Europe, US, UK, Canada, all of these international countries are concerned, there is always a funding opportunity for you. So I want you to have that. It's part of the right mindset that I mentioned. Have that mindset, whatever course you study. Okay, yeah, from Nepal, Kathmandu from Nepal, great. Okay, so Kende, you want to tell us where you are joining us? I can see Abate also, so you can tell us your name, where you're joining us from. So you're welcome. It's good to have you here. All right. So yes, to answer the question, all right. Dev asked, for suggestions of schools schools that offer masters in agriculture, right, in Texas especially. So, and I'm going to show you now how to do that to start by yourself. One of one of the things that I'm going to be doing in this live session is I'm going to be showing you how to do some of these things. So what we are going to do is to go online, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. All right. So let's have this. So we are going to go to google.com together, and you see how to make this search. So let me share my screen. Dev, I want to answer the question Dev is asking. And the question Dev asked was, she was looking for a school that offer masters in agriculture, right? So, all right, I hope you all can see my screen. Yeah, you're watching from Ghana. I've already applied to the University of Alabama. That's awesome. Yeah, looking forward to see you here. And hopefully you put up a good application. I'm going to see you on campus, right? So I'm excited about that. Somebody applying to my school. So yeah, so don't just apply to the University of Alabama. Please apply to as many schools as you can. I'm, I'm going to mention that again very soon. I'm going to mention that. So that's very great. I'm glad you applied to the University of Alabama. Make sure you apply to other schools. Don't put your head in one basket. All right. So to answer the question, so what you would do to answer the question of Dev who asked about a program in agriculture. Now, before I go into that, I need to mention this that sometimes you may not see the particular program that you're looking for. And I don't want you to limit yourself on that. Don't limit yourself on, okay, I study agriculture and I'm looking for a master's in agriculture. I'm looking for a PhD in agriculture. If they don't have that, can you look for what is related to that? All right, that's one thing you want to do. So you want to look for what program is related to what you study, even if they don't have your exact program. What is related to that? Um, Let me give an example. For instance, if you study English, right? You study English, and then you look into a university, and they don't have English. They don't have masters in English. They don't have PhD in English, and all of that. And you just and they have good funding opportunity, and you just shut it. No, you want to look what do they have that is related. Do they have international relations? Or do they have communication? Do they have, maybe it's mass communication or just communication, or whatever it is that is related to English, that is related to language, right? You want to apply to something related to what you have. For instance, if they don't have agriculture, if you check a university and they don't have agriculture, do they have maybe soil management, or do they have I don't know, anything that's related to your course. I'm not in the in the science and engineering field, so sometimes I may not do the exact thing. So, but what I'm trying to say is that can you look for something that is similar to what they have? Can you look for something similar to what they have, and see how you can turn your application to suit into that? So, but we are going to check this together. I hope you can see my screen, as I go into the Google together. But again, also I have a video on this channel, and I think I can walk you through that. I have a video on this channel that I mention how to how to search for schools and search for the ones that have the program you have, how to search from the beginning, from Google. And I'm going to show you that video. That video is right there on my channel. All right. It's right there on my channel. So let me show you that video first. Then I'm going to walk you through it also. I'm going to walk you through how to search for it by yourself. So, but if you see this, so if you can see my screen, this is some of the videos on my channel. So this is the particular video that I'm talking about. This video, how to search. All right. If you check it, this is a video here. My channel, Life Beyond Borders. My name is Olugbenga. The question that Dev asked, Dev is asking for schools that offer masters in agriculture. So I always like to show people how to do things by themselves. I can, even if I can suggest, maybe I suggest one to you, and that's all. But you need more than that. So, but I have a video here that show how to do that. In this video, I show you how to search for schools, how to search for them from A to Z, how to check the programs they have, and all of that. So you want to come on my channel in your free time, you can see here I was taking people to how to check for the courses they have. But again, you want to come on my channel maybe at the end of this live session and check that video for yourself. It's right here, the ultimate guide, how to make search by yourself. So, but again, I want to walk you through the Google. Okay, let's go through Google together and let's see how you can do it by yourself, right? So for instance, if you need you can say universities in Texas that offer masters in agriculture. All right, so can you see? You can see for yourself, guys. You can see, from here, there's list of universities here that offer masters in agriculture. All right, but if I tell you, let's check one of the, for instance, let's check one of the schools. Let's click on maybe Texas A&M, and let's go to their website. All right. So getting to their website, you can come to their academics. Let's verify if that information is true. This is academics. Let's come to major, minor, and I hope you all can see my screen. Okay, let's come to search all graduate programs. All right, so you can see the program they have, aerospace engineering. You can see, all right, so you can see masters in agricultural economics, right? Then they have a masters in agri, I guess, a masters in agri business or something, agri business, masters in agricultural leadership, education, and communication. Then they have PhD here, agricultural leadership, education, and communication. So I think this answered the question that Dev asked. So if you can see my screen, yes, I can see you say you've notified that you can see my screen. So Dev, this is for you actually. So you can see how I walk through the search. You are able to see this. So one other thing you want to go ahead to check is funding. Now you have seen that they have your program, right? So you want to check if they have funding. That is very important. So it is not just having your program. Do they have funding? Do they have funding in form of graduate assistantship or the likes? Or let's see if we can. I don't really want to take time to go through that now. You can check some of my videos on how to check for funding. Um, let's say, for instance, we check for that. Okay. All right. Academic supports. Um, yeah, in your spare time, you can look for this on their channel to check if they have funding. Financial aid. Let's check financial aid. Yes. Okay, let's learn more about the scholarship they have. Graduate and professional scholarship. Yeah, so this is Texas A&M University, and they have graduate assistantship. All right, so um, for Dev who asked that question, and everyone who is interested in this school, Texas A&M, they have graduate assistantship position, right? So graduate students may be hired as teaching, research, or non-teaching assistants. All right. So one thing I can't guarantee is if they have application fee waiver. But if you can go ahead and pay your application fee, you can apply to this school. All right. So, but again, you also want to check their acceptance rates. So you can check their acceptance rates. Let's check their acceptance rates on Google. Okay, you can say Texas A&M University acceptance rates. So you can see the acceptance rate is 62%, which is it's not bad, you know. It means that if 100 students apply to this school, they are going to choose like 62 of them. So this is not a bad figure. So you can apply. Dev, who asked that question, Dev asked that question, so now I'm responding to the question. They have Texas A&M have agriculture, masters up to masters and PhD level, so you can apply to the school. And as you can see from my screen, they also have graduate assistantship position, and they have 62% acceptance rate, which is not bad. Okay, so that's not bad. That's not bad. So you can take your time to, apply to the school, right? All right. So if you are just joining, this is Life Beyond Borders, and my name is Olugbenga. You're welcome to this live session. You're welcome to this live session, and we are here. If you are just joining us, you can tell us your name. So let me pick the other question. I want to know if there's anybody else that have question. Um, I'm actually responding to questions. So if you have your question, just type it on the comment section. I'm going to respond to your question. I'm going to respond to it. All right. So your second question, I'd like to take question from someone else also before I move back to the questions Dev has asked. I'm writing statement of purpose right now. Can you suggest? Okay, I think I've responded to that. Universities, yeah, my CGPA is 3.0 on a scale of 4.0. Yeah, 3.0 on a scale of 4.0. It's very possible, right? I mean, there are people who have as low as 2.5 or even lesser than that, and they were able to get scholarship. Of course, there might be some other things they do. All right, but 3.0 over 4.0, it's a fair CGPA, and a lot of schools will actually accept you. So you want to check their requirements. Make sure you check the requirements, the admission requirements for the program you are applying to or the general graduate study requirements. They always have it on their page. And we've seen it in some of my videos on how I walk people through that. So yeah, there's no particular site that shows cost of acceptance. What do you mean by cost of acceptance? There's no particular site. You need to check every information you want to check is on the school's website. Okay, every information you want to check, make sure you go on the school's website and check those information. They are there. All right. If you are just joining us, this is Life Beyond Borders. This is the question and answer session. So, guys, I need your question. Just type in your question. If you are here, send your question on the comment section. Just type it, and I'm going to respond to it. And I was sharing with you before I began to answer the question by Dev. I was sharing the common mistake that people make in their study abroad application. And the first one I mentioned is the mindset that people, bring. And I mentioned the fact that you need to have the right mindset. You need to have the right mindset. Don't just have japa mindset. Don't just have I want to flee kind of mindset, or don't just approach it with like a physical attitude. Have the right mindset and be ready to, ready to work, actually, to put the work to it so that you will reap the results, right? It has worked for some of us, and for a lot of people. We have a lot of international students studying in the US, for instance, and they put the work to it, actually. And that's what works for them. The second thing is that I've discovered, second mistake is not being organized. Not being organized. A lot of people are not organized and patient. Okay, they just want to do things anyhow. You cannot get the results that way. You must be organized. You must have a list of the school you are working with. You can create an Excel. If you don't know how to use an Excel, use your pen to draw a table. Put the name of the school, the program you found, the professors you are reaching out to. Have an organized way of approaching things, so that if you are applying to maybe 5 schools, you can, in just one document, you can see everything at a glance. So a lot of people are not organized, and it's haunting them, and sometimes they upload the wrong documents. For instance, somebody wants to submit application to maybe the University of Alabama, and you upload the statement of purpose you have written for the University of Louisiana, for instance, or the University of New York, because you are not organized. But if you are organized, you'll be able to structure, oh, this is for this is for that. So not being organized and not being patient has haunted a lot of people, and they come up with the fact that, oh, this thing is not working, that one is not working, I've tried it, it's not actually working. No, no, it is working. It's just that you are not being organized and you are not being patient with these things. So the second mistake I see, a lot of people are not being organized. And the third mistake, before I go into that, in fact, that one is very important. I'm going to. But before I go into the third mistake that people make in their study abroad application, let me answer the question here. So Abate from Ghana said, I have a BSc in Business Administration, HRM, with a CGPA of 3.6. I'm really interested in moving to public health or health administration. How possible? Yes, I mean, and one thing is this, and I'm going to mention that also. There's a point that I wrote down here I'm going to mention, and which is, I think that will lead me to number 3. Yes, exactly. Number 3 thing that I want to mention, the mistake that people make in their study abroad application. Number 3, applying to completely unrelated program without prior experience. Applying to completely different, unrelated program without experience. Okay. For instance, if you study English and you want to apply to, let's say, agricultural engineering, there are two completely unrelated programs. They are unrelated programs. They are completely different. Studying English is different from studying agriculture. There are two different fields. You study English in your undergrad, and you want to apply for a master's program in agriculture, or you want to apply a master's program in public health. I mean, I'm going to answer your question, but there's a caveat to that, actually. And you want to apply something different from what you are. It's usually near impossible, with an exception. What do you want to mention in your statement of purpose, for instance? What connection do they want to see? Because one of the documents that they require is your transcript. And some of us don't know the reason why they require for transcripts. Some of us don't know that the reason why sometimes they don't even bother about your certificate. For my school, yeah, I'm not even sure I sent my certificate to them, my university certificate. They just need your transcript. And why do they need the transcript? They need the transcript because they want to see the courses you have offered so that they will not have to start giving you the basic background. For instance, if you did let's say you did biochemistry in your undergrad, and from your transcript they are going to see that you have done courses that are related to biology. So they don't have to be teaching you what is biology, what is cell, what is human reproductive system and all of that. They will have seen all the courses you have done in your transcript. So they don't have to, teach you that again. That's why they check for your transcript. So when you do a course that is unrelated, maybe you studied English and then you are applying for a course, a PhD or master's in biochemistry, and then you check all the courses you have done. There's nothing that is related to biology, nothing that is related to chemistry. Where do you want to start from? Okay, so you need to look for courses that are related. The only caveat to that, not the only, there are several ways to do that. Number one, there are courses you can apply for MBA. I think MBA is the only course that is kind of open. That no matter what you study in the university, you can always apply for an MBA because it's Masters in Business Administration, because it's just a way of transitioning into the business or management aspect of career. So they believe that if you're applying for an MBA, even if um, you study medicine, you study computer engineering, you study whatever you study, you can apply for an MBA because MBA is usually about teaching you leadership, business professional aspect of doing things. So with an MBA degree, it can always complement any degree you have. So you can apply for the master that is really open for everyone is MBA. Now, if what you studied is different, completely different, another thing that can work for you is if you have been working in that area for a very long time. Okay? If you have been working in that area for a very long time, for instance, if you graduated from maybe your undergraduate is in drama, theater arts, right? Maybe you did your undergrad, you have a bachelor of arts, BA in theater arts, but ever since the time you graduated, you have been working in the banking sector. One way or the other, you found yourself in the banking sector or in the finance sector, and you have maybe like 3 years experience in that aspect, or even 2 years experience. That is a very good thing to leverage on to switch into masters in business administration and all of that. I don't know if you understand. There must be something that is connecting you to what you want to apply to. So it is either your degree is connecting you to what you want to apply to, or your work experience. So in your case, you have a business administration, master in business administration, but the question you want to be able to put forward in your application is, do you have an experience in public health? Or maybe I should ask, okay, I want to consider a related program that has enough funding. Business administration mostly doesn't have funding. Yes, you are correct about that. I have 8 admission in the business field. However, I couldn't enroll in any because I didn't get enough funding. As an offer, I can't proceed without enough funding. All right. So you are very correct. A lot of masters in business administration doesn't have funding because they believe it's for professionals, right? They believe it's for working class. They believe it's for those who already started their career, but they want to have management and business experience. So MBA is usually for professionals. There are some few schools that actually offer funding for MBA, and I'm going to put that down. I'm going to make a video about that. I know about trying to remember the school now. Let me put funding in MBA. I'm going to make more research about that and bring a video. I'm going to make a video on that. But I know a particular school that if I think is in Michigan Tech University. I'm trying to remember, but when I remember, I'm going to, bring it your way. I'm going to just watch out on this channel. I'm going to make a video on that. I know funding for MBA is always scarce, and you should have that at the back of your mind. Okay, but what you want to look at courses, other courses that are related to business administration. It doesn't have to be business administration, right? You can do other courses that it also depends on which aspect you have been working on, which area you have been working on. Okay, a master's program is a professional program. I mean, it's for it's an advanced degree. So you cannot just switch to health without having any experience in health. In the health sector, it's very difficult. Those who can easily switch to the health sector, are those who have worked in, I mean, or those who have experience or degree in health related, maybe biology, biochemistry, medicine, and all of that. So, but from a completely different area, because you will write your statement of purpose, right? You will write some of these letters. Some schools will even interview you. What do you want to tell them? What is your motivation? Even at the point of visa interview, they are actually going to challenge you. Why are you switching career? So, like I said, two things can only help you to have that kind of strong application if you are switching career, if you are switching from a bachelor's degree to another different program. Your degree, if it is related, or your experience, your working experience. So if you did something different in your undergraduate, and but you have been working in that area for a very long time, you can easily apply for a master's or PhD program in it. That, listen, though I did this in my undergraduate, but because of my passion for this, I have been working in this area. Though I did English in my undergraduate, but I have been working in the banking sector for the past 2 years, for the past 3 years, because I have passion for this area. So you can easily apply for, masters in something related to finance or management and all of that. So what I think we can work for you is to look for something related to business administration. Just check, as you are checking the list of those schools, you will see something, you see a program that is related to what you have done and you can do that have funding. You can check accounting. I think you can do accounting. There some schools have funding for accounting, and you can do something that is related to tech, maybe business analytics. All of those things that are related, that have funding. That's what you want to check. Just check all of the programs that are related to to what you study in undergraduate. Once they have funding on their departments, that is what you want to look for, irrespective of what program it is, as long as it's closely related or somehow related to what you study in school or your working experience. Go for that. All right, that's what I would say about it. I think I answered that question. So if you are just joining, you're welcome. This is Life Beyond Borders. I've mentioned three mistakes. Number one, having the wrong mindset. Number two, is not being patient and not organized. Then the third thing, which I just mentioned, is applying to the wrong school to the wrong program, to the unrelated program without experience. Okay. Um, you're welcome. If you are just joining, you can mention your name and where you're joining us from. Okay, so I can see Oluwaseun here. You're welcome. Oluwaseun, you said, I have my master's in animal science. I applied for PhD in biological science at the University of South Carolina. I sent code email and follow up to 4 different professors, but no response. What can I do? Let me know, have you applied already? Because you said you apply. You sent code emails to 4 different professors in that department, right? So have you submitted the application already? You said that you applied, you have applied. So let me know, Oluwaseun, let me know if you have submitted the application already or you are still in the process of submitting. Okay, yes, you have submitted the application. All right, if you have submitted the application, just don't worry, just wait for them. Now, as much as it is important, and I always emphasize that, yes, you have already submitted the application. All right, that's good. So as much as it is important to, his question is that he has applied to the program in the university, and then he has sent code email to them, but he's not getting response. Now, it is very important to send code email to professors. And one of the reasons why it's good to send code email to them is, number one, so that you can get response from them, so that you don't waste your time. For instance, some of them are not accepting students. I have sent code emails to professors and I get response like, "Oh, you have a very fantastic background. I love I love your writing material. You have a good application package, but unfortunately, I'm going to be retiring at the end of this semester, so I cannot take any students again." you know. So if you get a response from them, so it's like Even if you submit, if that is the only professor that you can work with in that department, if you submit your application, it may not work. So that's one of the reasons why I always tell people to, send cold emails. Some professors can say, "Oh, sorry, we don't have funding. We currently don't have funding for international students." I've sent I've sent cold email to a professor like that. I think in Canada, not US. Said, sorry, we don't have funding for international students currently. They used to have, but I mean, for that semester, they said they don't have. So that's one of the things cold email does. One other thing cold email does is, okay, it helps the professor to see your work or to see who you are, to even get familiar with your name, because some of the ways they make selection of students by the time they want to make admission is, they check, they verify from each professor. Hey, Professor B, would you like to work with this student? So student submitted an application and it has this, it has this, it has this. Would you like to work with the person? Now, if that person has seen your email before, that is an advantage compared to somebody that is a name that is they are mentioning in the board meeting and is completely new. But if it is a name that the professor have heard about before, or maybe the person have seen your email before, or probably you even had opportunity to do a Zoom session with the professor before that time, that is an advantage for you. That's the reason why we send cold email. Now, apart from that, it is possible not to get response from those cold email. All right. And you don't need to beat yourself on that. You can send the cold emails and you can also send follow-ups. I always send follow-up, like I give 2 or 3 weeks, I send follow-up. I give another 2 weeks, I send follow-up. If you have sent those things like 3 times and there's no response, please just leave it that way. I've sent a cold email that I only got response in the third month. In the third month, So if you did not get any response, some have the culture of not responding to students at all. So some schools have that culture, some professors have that culture of not responding to cold emails. So if you don't get response, please don't beat yourself too much. Just know that you are doing the right thing by sending the cold email, which is good. Some will even see your email in their inbox. They see your name and your email. Some probably even read it, but they cannot respond. And you must understand that these professors are very busy people. They are, I mean, until I got here before I know how busy some of these professors are. Even myself, as a graduate teaching assistant, I get a lot of emails from students, not to talk of the professors. Sometimes I am in my class, receiving lectures and their emails are popping in, for one reason or the other. Some are taking permission, some are asking questions about some of the things we taught in the class and several things like that. So if I am getting such numbers of emails, you can imagine the numbers of email professors are getting. And I have to respond to that. And they too, they have to respond to some of the emails that they are receiving, while some they will ignore it. Some of the emails they will read it. They will read your email, they will say, okay, we have seen you. They may not respond. So don't beat yourself too hard. Send the cold emails. If you are not getting response, send a follow-up. After some few follow-ups, stop sending. But does that matter in the application? I would say it depends. If a school have good funding, and if they have good funding on their department, page information that they have funding, you can apply, right? Especially if they are waiving the application fee. I always tell, if you are waiving application fee, if you get response from your code email or not, still apply, right? Even if they tell you that they don't have funding or something, if they are waiving the application fee, please take that advantage. You have nothing to lose. Apply to the school. That's one advantage of application fee. So if you have nothing to lose, the professor that tells you that they don't have funding, tomorrow, maybe before your admission, maybe probably they can have another professor or they can win a grant in that department or in that lab and they will have enough funding. What if you had not applied? So I can only tell you not to waste application fee on a school that is not guaranteeing you funding or that is not responding to your email. To the email thing, I can't give a strong answer on that, whether to apply or not, especially if you are going to be paying application fee. But I would just say, if you are sure of your own application process, I mean, your package, you know that you have written a very strong statement of purpose, you have a very strong CV well packaged. Your recommendation letters, they are coming from people that are very, they are strong people in the academia. I would say you can put it forth. It's an investment, it's a risk, paying application fee, and it has worked for a lot of people. Some people it did not work for them. So what I always tell people is, if they are waiving application fee, whether they respond to your cold email or not, still apply. If they are not waiving application fee, before you pay the application fee, make sure that they have good funding. Make sure you get response. Even if you cannot get response, make sure that you are sure of what you are submitting to them. That I'm very sure what I'm submitting, except they are not accepting students. If they are accepting students, I should be one of those people. But don't rely totally on that school alone. You know, always have a mixture. All right. So that is to the question of Oluwaseun. Okay, you have sent code email to those four professors. Send a follow up. I would say just pick one person at a time, and that's why it's good to start early. What I do is when I start as early as June, July, when I send code email to one person, I give the person 2, 3 weeks. I send maybe like two follow up. If I did not get a response from that person, I can maybe move to another professor. But don't send to like 3 to 4 professors at the same time, especially sending the same thing, except you want to send different thing and asking for different thing. Because some of these professors, they talk to each other, and they can, they talk to themselves, say, oh, did you hear about so students from, from maybe from so country, and then it's the same. You send the same email to all of them. That one is going to work against you. So you want to be careful about cold emails also, sending to different people at the same time. All right. So if you don't get response, follow up. If you since you have even submitted your application, so I would just say just keep praying and keep believing that it's going to be possible, and don't rely only on that school alone. Responding to Oluwaseun and everyone also, don't rely on one school. I always tell people, don't rely on one school. But what I'm not sure is, did you pay application fee for South Carolina? If you like, you can let me know on the comment section if you paid application fee, for the school. All right. So yeah, you're welcome once again. If you are just joining us, it is a live Q&A session. I want you to stay with me here. Before we go, I'm going to drop a particular school that is waiving the application fee. Yes, I'm going to drop it as an incentive for those who were able to make it here. All right. So I've answered your question, Oluwaseun, and Abate. I believe we touch on that question. If you have, please, if you are joining, if you have any question, or if you have a response to the questions I've answered, or a comment, an opinion on that, you can also mention it in the chat box. So I was mentioning mistakes to avoid. I've mentioned the wrong mindset. I've mentioned not being organized. I see mistakes a lot of people do. The third one, which I mentioned, is applying to unrelated program, completely unrelated. You know, don't just Your motivation should not just be funding alone. It must be that your program or your experience is related to what you are applying to. Because you will prove it. You will prove it. What they want to, by the time they are reading your application, your statement of purpose, your personal statement, there must be that link that, okay, I studied this, but this is what I'm doing now. This is why I'm going to, this program. There must be a link. So if there's no link, it will be a problem at the end. So you want to check that. Okay. Number 4 thing is applying to few schools, and I mentioned that earlier on. One mistake I see people do is to apply to few schools. Some will just apply to one school, and then they expect the magic to happen on that one school. It has worked for some people, all right? But again, it's a risk. I will tell you that, sorry. So applying to one school has worked for some people, but it's a risk actually. And I can tell you, if I say it has worked for people, maybe it has worked for, let's say, like 5%, 5 or 10% of people who had the opportunity to study abroad. Especially people who have applied maybe like 5 years ago, when the competition is not that fierce now. I must say, people who applied to all these schools like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the competition was not fierce like this. Now, It's just like they've released people massively. Schools that receive maybe 1,000 application like 5 years ago, now they are receiving like 5,000, 10,000 applications. So you can imagine the fierce competition, and you are just applying to one schools. So I always one mistake, one of that's a very big mistake people make, applying to one school or applying to a very few school. So what is the number you can apply to? I always tell people, if you can try as much as possible to apply 3 to 5 schools. In fact, I always put the benchmark like 5. Try to apply to 5 schools. Now, this is it. Especially now, if you are using free application waivers, you are applying to schools that are waiving application fee. 5 is even the minimum. Okay, if you are applying to schools with your application, you are paying application fee. 3 is the minimum. If you are applying for schools with application fee waiver, for me, 5 is the minimum. When I'm saying this is the minimum, I'm talking about my own opinion. And I'll tell you why. If you're applying to schools and you are paying application fee, schools that are not waiving application fees, those schools will receive lesser applicants compared to schools that are waiving application fee. Okay? So, in other words, the competition of those who are waiving application fee is going to be much. So they have a lot of students applying to them because they are waiving their application fee. So if you only apply to one of that school, you have reduced your chances. Okay, so if you are applying to schools that are waiving application fee, target to apply to a minimum of 5. If you can do 10, do that, but do it, sensibly. Don't just apply, don't just throw in your application. You must put in every single of those applications, you must put your best to them. You must tailor the application to that school. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it, right? Because when you get your testimony at the end of the day, you'll be the one rejoicing, and every of the effort that you have put into it will not be a waste. All right, so South Carolina, you didn't pay application fee. That's good. So don't stop on that. Check my videos on my channel. There are a lot of schools that have released. There are schools that are waiving application fee. There are some maybe you can pay application fee, but there are a lot of schools on my channel that I've mentioned that you can apply to. If you're a member of this channel, if you're a subscriber of this channel, I don't see any reason why you cannot apply to minimum of 5 schools, honestly, because I've shared a lot of schools on this channel. Right on this channel, they are there. So the videos are there. You can go back to watch them. All right. So people cannot complain about not having schools to apply to. So not applying to many schools, applying to a few schools is one mistake that I see people make, because they just believe that they know somebody in that school that will just give them admission. So if you apply to more, depending on, more can be in any context for some people. You are giving yourself more opportunity. So you are having different plan. You are not just focusing on one school alone. So you must not be obsessed with one school alone. You must also give opportunity, to other schools to look at your program, your application package. So that is very important. One mistake I see is applying to a few schools. So you want to take opportunity. Now, which leads me to number 5, applying to schools only with application fee waivers, with a weak application package. Okay, applying to schools with application fee waivers, but with a weak application package. All right, let me deal with the first thing. I've seen a lot of people talk about don't apply for schools with application fee waiver because they have competition. All right, now please listen very carefully. If you have the money, if you have the financial, capability, this study abroad thing is an investment. So it's an investment of your time, it's an investment of your resources. If you have the money, it's an investment of your money actually. Nothing good come free and comes easy. So what I will encourage people to do, if you have the money, pay application fee for some schools. You can do it this way. You can apply to like 7 schools. You can selectively pick like 2 schools that you will pay for their application fee. All right, maybe each of them is $80, But before you pay application fee for a school, make sure that you have checked they have funding, and make sure that it is possible that they accept you in that program. That should give you the confidence to pay application fee. Now, you may not get a response from the code email. That doesn't stop you from paying application fee. But What if you don't have the money, right? If you don't have the money for application fee, then go for the ones that are waiving application. Now, the truth is this: for me, I myself, I applied to 4 schools, and I never paid the application fee for the 4 schools. And let me tell you the sincere thing: I applied to 4 schools, I got 3 rejection and 1 acceptance. And the one that accepted me is where I'm studying currently. What if I have applied to one of those schools that rejected me? What if I applied to just 2 of them? So all the schools, I did not pay application fee for them, and I got admitted to one of them. So if you don't have money for application fee, the only thing you can rely on is to apply to as many schools as you can. So you cannot not have money. How do I put it now? You don't have money for application fee and you are applying to 1 school or 2 schools. Who do you know? Do you know who do you know in that school, right? So you want to give yourself, put your this thing is about positioning. All right, you are welcome if you are just joining us. I can see Femi from Nigeria. You're welcome. All right, so we are answer. Just post your questions if you are just joining this live section. Post your question on the chat box. I'm going to answer your question. It's a Q&A section. So while I'm waiting for questions, I am just sharing other information that is going to be useful, for you. So while I'm waiting for your question, I'm sharing other things. And I started with the fact that I'm actually sharing um, common mistakes that people make in their study abroad journey. So that's what I've been sharing. So you can post your question on the comment section if you are just joining, and also just stay behind. I'm going to share a particular school that is still waiving their application fee with you if you are not in a rush, right? So, and I was mentioning the fact that just applying to schools waiving the application fee is not just enough. It is only enough if you are applying to many of them, if you are applying to a good number of them, so that you can. And don't just. I want to beg you, don't just apply. Put your best to each and every one of them. Let's say you are applying to 5 or 7 schools that are waiving application fee. Put your best to each and every one of them. You know, and do anything that will support your application. If writing GRE will support your application, if you have the money, write it. If you don't have the money, don't kill yourself. If you have the money, if you can seek for the money, if there is a way for you to get the money, maybe by loan or by anything, if that is going to support your application, please go for it. But if you don't have, depending on your situation, if you don't have the money, don't kill yourself. What you can use to complement that is to get more schools. That's what I always tell people, right? It's either you apply to a few schools, pay application fee, because those few schools, the competition is not going to be much, so you have a good chance. But if you don't have the money, you want to leverage on application fee waivers and applying to more schools. All right. So I hope you understand the balance. I talk about balance. I am not on the side of people that say, don't apply for schools with application fee waiver. Or I'm not on the side of people who say, apply to schools only with application fee waiver. My own is do what work for you, or depending on your situation. Some people's financial situation is just so down that they cannot afford application fee. All right. So what I would say is try as much as possible. If you can find a good school that will accept application fee, that is the possibility is that the competition is less in that school. If you have the money, you can raise the money and pay the application fee. But that does not guarantee your admission, because there are several other students too that are paying application fee to that school. So, and they can't accept every one of you. So paying application fee does not guarantee you admission. It only guarantees that the competition is less, right? So creating the balance is very important. Creating the balance, knowing how to balance it is very important. All right, a quick one. For fall application, what month is late for registration? Okay, Femi is asking that for fall 2025, what month is late for registration? All right, so this for registration, what do you mean by registration? So do you mean what month is late for submitting application or registration? So you may want to clarify your question, Femi. Um, So what do you mean by registration? Do you mean submitting your application? So what do you mean by that? So you may want to clarify the question, then I will be able to know how to answer that. That's a good question. Um, okay. Yeah, so I will wait for you to update that question or to rephrase the question, you know, so I will know how to attend to that. Um, yes, so quickly I want to go to the, not apply, like I mentioned, not applying to, many school, or applying to a few school. That's one mistake. Always have a plan B. Another thing is some people apply to big schools alone. Some people have school of their dream. Some people just apply to Harvard, apply to apply to those big schools where we have competition. Especially with when you know your CGPA, you know that you did not even, you don't have a strong, not just CGPA, you don't have a strong application package, because what makes up an application package is not just the CGPA. There are several other things. The CGPA is part. If you don't have a good CGPA, if you have a good working experience or good research experience, if you're applying for a research program, those ones can complement for you. So throwing your egg in one basket or just applying to big schools alone can haunt you is a mistake a lot of people do. So you want to apply to big school if you can, or you want to apply to lower cadre schools. And sincerely, in some of these universities that we call lower cadre, this one is Ivy League, this one is lower league and all that, they are good schools. Actually, some schools that we tag lower schools are good schools and are better than some, they are better than some schools in some countries, right? So you want to throw your eggs in different places and don't just target big school. Don't put your egg in one basket. Don't put your egg in big schools alone. You must be strategic about this whole thing. Okay, so what month is late for application submission? That's what Kende is asking. I mean, that's what Femi is asking. Kende, you are welcome. Okay. So let me answer Femi's question first. Now, there's no particular month. Every school have their own deadline. I mean, every program have their own deadline. If you come to some school, you will see the deadline, or some program, they will say the deadline is November. But most of the deadline start, I think, is they start from November. Some will put their deadline to be ending of November. Some will put their deadline to early December. Okay? Some will put their deadline to early January. So you need to check the deadline, the date itself, not just even the month. So the deadline varies. Okay? Some will even extend their deadline to up to February, March of the next year, right? So the deadline varies. But it's always advisable, especially when if you want funding, to submit early. Even if they put their deadline to February or they put their deadline to January, only apply to such program if you are just saying that information, right? You can take chances. There are people who apply as late and submit as late as that, and they get admission, they get funding. But one thing is this, you must understand that the earlier you submit your application, the earlier you get admission, decision, and funding. Some of these schools or some of these departments, they give their funding as they are receiving the admission. Because some schools have different systems. Some schools, once they receive, once you submit your application, the graduate school will send your application to your department. You can see that. So immediately your application comes in. If you submit your application today, for some schools, the graduate school is going to send your, once they check that the required documents are already there, they will send your application to your school. So maybe it will even land in the hand of that professor now. So it can land in their hand this month, and they can make their decision at that time. So let's say they start making decision. Maybe they've made decision to accept 5 students, and those 5 students, they give them funding. If you submit your own maybe as late as January, they can check it, say, okay, let's check, and they can still decide. But the truth is, sometimes they make decision on funding. Okay? So that's why the earlier you submit, the better. I always tell people, try to submit maybe ending of November or early December, regardless of I mean, not putting into consideration the deadline now. Now, you may have some schools that their deadline is November. So before, because I mentioned submit November mid does not mean you have to submit December, right? If their deadline is November, that means you have to stick to the deadline. So putting the deadline in mind, you must think about what is early submission. So if the deadline is December, early submission is November, right? If the deadline is January, early submission is December, maybe early December. So, but I always tell people, whatever you want to submit, submit as early as late November and early December. That way, you are positioning yourself to get funding, right? You are not just getting admission; you are positioning yourself to get funding and early decision, right? It is very important. So, I hope I answer that question. So, there's no particular month. It's just that there are ways to approach these things. The earlier you submit, the better chances that you are going to have funding. Now, if you miss submitting early, does that mean you are not going to have a funding opportunity? No, that does not mean you are not going to be funded. It just means that you have submitted a bit. If it is not late, as long as it's not late, you are safe, right? But you are just positioning yourself right. So as long as it's not late, you can still go ahead and submit. So that day, even if we are probably if we were doing this live session at late December, that does not mean you cannot submit at that time, especially if it is still within the deadline, right? So what I'm just saying is that check the deadline of the school or the program. The program is very important. Check the department's page. They have their own deadline. Some departments' deadline may be different from the graduate school deadline. I've seen it in many programs. So you want to check that. You want to check that and make sure that you are on track. All right. Let me check. Kindy. Yeah, you're welcome. Do you know anything about WES evaluation boosting my Nigeria GPA on five grading system? Yes, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to really talk about that. As a matter of fact, I plan to make a video on WES evaluation on two things: how to calculate your CGPA for free. There's the WES evaluation system. They have a system where you can use to calculate your CGPA for free without paying. So they have that. So I'm going to make a video on that, how to use that tool to calculate your CGPA to the US system before you even go ahead to do the WES evaluation. So the WES evaluation, what it does is to just like the word evaluate, it helps to evaluate your transcript, the courses you did in your undergraduate, and evaluate it, weigh it in the US system. We all know that, for instance, in Nigeria, we are using some schools use 5.0, some use 7.0, some use 8.0, some use different things. Some schools even use percentage, Whatever country you are watching me from, there's a system in which some of the schools use. So if it is not 4.0, it is different from the US system. Even the one that use 4.0, the way the US schools calculate their grade is different. What we see as A, somebody getting A, is different in the US. For instance, in Nigeria, when you get a 70, you get a A. Here, when you get 70, you don't. I don't know about other schools, but in my school here, when you get 70, that's not an A. That's not A, right? So it doesn't mean you are not good, right? And it doesn't mean when you get a 70 in Nigeria, you are not good. So I'm just saying that some of these grading systems are different. So what WES evaluation service do is that they collect your transcript, your results, and they help you check it and they evaluate it into the US system such that it usually boosts people. So when they say it boosts your CGPA, it's not that it boosts, it's just that it makes what look as if you did not do well. If it look as if you did not do well in your transcript, it reveals the best thing you have done. So most likely it helps to bring up your CGPA points to the point where you have, to the one you have in the US. All right. So it's really helped a lot of people. So, and I will encourage you to do that, especially if you have a low CGPA. It will actually help you. Even if you don't have a low CGPA, there are people that I will recommend WES evaluation for. I did not do that anyway. All right. If you have a first class in Nigeria, you likely don't need an evaluation, right? Honestly, except the school you want to apply to require evaluation, and for one reason or the other, you really want to apply to that school, then you can do evaluation. And actually, when you do it, at least for the next 5 years, it is yours, and you can always use it for other schools. If you have a low CGPA, I will advise you to do a transcript evaluation. All right, it is, I won't say it's very expensive. It's costly, right? But it's an investment. So if you have a low CGPA, you can do evaluation. If you have a HND transcript, I will also encourage you to do a transcript evaluation so that it can evaluate your transcript out of that HND thing and put it in just one bundle that will fit into the US or even Canada system and all of that. So I will encourage those set of people to do transcript evaluation. And if you just want to do something that will be an added advantage, for your application, you can do WES evaluation, right? But if you don't have the money, right, don't, that's not the end of the road. I did not do transcript evaluation, and I did not get a first class. I got a second class. So, and I did not do transcript evaluation. There are schools that don't even accept that. For instance, the University of Alabama don't even accept West evaluated transcript. If you send it to them, they will send the email to you immediately that please, we don't want this. Send your university transcript. All right. So, and there are some schools like that that will put it on their portal that they don't want West evaluated transcript. Very few school anyway, but it puts you on an advantage if you have the money, right? And I think about it should be around above $200 as at the time I'm doing this video. But if you don't have the money, that means you need to put extra work by looking for schools that accept low CGPA. Okay, extra work. That's what you need to put in, and that's why sometimes I'm not always fixed on these things. When people say don't apply to schools with application fee waivers, don't apply without doing West evaluation. I know it's an investment, and honestly, if you have the money, I always encourage people to invest. This is an investment, and if you have the money, invest in it. But if you don't have, you can't. My people say you can't kill yourself, right? If you don't have, you must be ready to do other things. Okay, if you are not financially buoyant to pursue your dream, you must be able to do some other things to achieve it. So if you don't have money to pay application fee, then you must be able to get enough schools to apply to without paying application to increase your chances. Not only applying alone, you must be able to dedicate time to make sure that your statement of purpose is, even is able to compete with somebody who pay application fee. So if they bring somebody who paid application fee and you did not pay application fee, and you have a very good statement of purpose, you have a very good CV, a very strong application package, you have put yourself in a better chance. So there's no one-way thing to this thing. It's just knowing what you have, using what you have to get what you want. That's very important. How much are you able to pursue your dream? That's the most important thing. With the free West evaluation, give you the exact GPA that the official West will eventually give. Most likely, it gives, if not the exact one, it gives a very close figure. Okay, so most likely I've used it for mine, but I did not use the paid one. I used the free one. So because I did not do the paid one, so I cannot really say if it the exact thing. But what I've heard from people who have done is it gives similar result because you are using their system too. So it's likely going to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. All right, before you make the paid version. Just like you can't submit that free result. You can't submit it for anything official. It's just being sent to your email. I'm going to do that probably in another video because I don't want this live session to be too long. I'm going to release the video maybe this week or next week. I'm going to make a video on how to do that, how to calculate your CGPA into the Nigerian system using the West IGPA evaluation service, right? For free. Okay, so watch out for that. So it's not maybe not the same, not exactly, but it's going to be very close. I mean, it's going to be very close. So I can trust that system. So for late submission, there's nothing like late submission except the deadline they put. But you are encouraged to submit your application as early as possible for funding purpose. And not just for funding, even yourself, you have enough time, to prepare, to do other things. It's very important. All right, I believe I've answered that question. If you are just joining, it's Life Beyond Borders, and this is a question and answer session. All right, so and I was sharing the other time how the several mistakes that people make in pursuing their study abroad dream. And I've mentioned the fact that people approach it with wrong mindsets. People are not organized and not patient with themselves and the system itself. People apply to completely unrelated program from what they studied without experience in it at all. I've mentioned that. Also applying to few schools or applying to only schools. Applying to schools with application fee waiver, but weak package, weak application package, weak statement of purpose, or weak CV, or weak recommendation, or just few of them. So you want to balance all of these things. Another thing is not being smart and fast enough, not being strategic. And I'm not going to spend much time on this. You need to be strategic in the whole of these things. You need to be smart. You need to be fast. You need to start approaching this thing early. You don't procrastinate. Maybe I share an information, so school is giving, a good funding opportunity and all of that. And then you see it, oh, I'm going to look at it later on. And then you keep procrastinating and all of that. So you need to be fast, you need to be smart in approaching this thing. You need to be strategic. Sometimes you have something good, but you don't know how to present yourself because you are not strategic about it. And you don't want to do the work. A lot of people have approached me on this channel. Some have sent email to me. Benga, can you help me to submit my application to this? Can you help me to look for this? You need to be smart. You need to get things done by yourself. You need to be smart about this thing. You need to be fast. You need to be strategic. See how I can put A to B together. And all this come with information, being ready to learn and ready to put what it takes to get you to where you want. Love it, you are welcome. Love it, where are you joining us from? Are you joining from wherever? I just mentioned your location is very important. How do I get my transcripts evaluated? We just mentioned that now. Let me share with you the page. I think I can use this time to do that. You know, let me share with you. Um, all right, just a second. So can you all see my screen? Um, I want to make sure you can see my screen. All right, can you guys see my screen? So I just want to show you. Okay, you're welcome. You're joining from Delta. Love it. You're welcome. Delta State in Nigeria. So let's look at West IGPA. By the way, I'm still going to do a full video on this. All right, so this is the free West IGPA calculator, and it helps to calculate your CGPA. I believe you can see my screen. Make sure you can see my screen. So this is the free IGPA calculator. This is the one you can use to calculate your CGPA for free, right? Okay, so you click on, this is West. I believe you saw how I got to this place, right? I got it from Google. You just type West IGPA and then see the first link that came up, and then you click on it. And then you can see here, they say use this free tool to obtain a US grade point CGPA calculated on a 4.0. All right. So it is used to calculate that. Then you click on start now. So as you see the start now, you will enter your name. So let me enter my name. For instance, let me enter. Okay. You select your country of residence, right? So you look for your country here and select your country. So let's say I'm from Nigeria. Let's select Nigeria. Okay. You enter your email. So let me enter this email. Okay. You re-enter the email again, and then you click on I would like to subscribe, or you may not click on that anyway. Then you click on continue. All right, so then it takes you to this next step where you enter the degree. Let's say you have a Bachelor of Science in economics. Then the institution name, let me put my university, Obafemi Awolowo University, and then the country of education, right? Somebody may say, I've selected that before. Your country is different from the country of education. So somebody can be from India, and the country of education is China, right? Something else can take you up to study in China for your undergraduate. So that's why it's important to know what they are asking. So when you select your country, you discover that it brings out the scale system that they use, your grading. And if you are from Nigeria, for instance, you know that in Nigeria they use A. Whether you get a A, you get a B in the course, you get a F, you get a D, and all of that. Or they use percentage. So you can select whichever one works. Okay, you can select percentage, you can select grading system. So the percentage is when they usually give you what you score. Maybe instead of 70, they show you 72, and in your result it's always showing the percentage, yes, exact percentage. You can use this percentage, but the common one is to use the letter scale. You got the A in the course, you got the B, but the percentage will give you the exact thing you got in that course. That is if that is what is used on your transcript, on your university transcript. Let's say if you select another country, let's see if it is the same thing. Let me select India, for instance. Okay, you can see when I selected India, it brought out different grading system. Okay, so the grading system will be determined by the school, the country which you did your undergraduate. All right, so let's go back to the Nigeria thing, for instance. And if your country is not listed, just choose a country that is closest to your country. All right, so select the letter. Somebody is asking, can the free tool evaluated be the same as? I think I've answered that question before. The free tool is not exactly the same. Or let me put it this way, you cannot use it. So even if it's exactly the same, the reason why they put it there is for you to know that the result is going to be the same or very similar. So if it is going to be completely different, West is not going to give you this free tool because they are using the free tool to attract you to to purchase their premium service. So they know that if you calculate it with the free tool, for instance, and it gives you a very good CGPA, you're going to pay for their premium service, which is a good thing. It's a win-win situation, right? So, but usually it's going to give you almost the same thing or exact thing. The only thing is that you cannot submit the result of this free tool, but you can always trust the results that is similar. You can even use this free tool for some schools that don't require West evaluation, but they usually ask for your CGPA in 4.0 form. So you can use this one to grade that. Let's click on continue. Year of study. Oh, I've not selected year of study. How many years? 4 years, economics. And you click on continue. All right. So now if you come to this place, you can see, sorry. So if you come here, you can see, so you just enter, there are 3 fields: course, title, the credits. How many credits? Maybe it's 2 credit hour or 3 credits. All right. Then the grade. So you can put the course, maybe the course is introduction to economics, right? How many credits is the course? Maybe it's 3 credits. What is the grade you got in that course? Maybe you got a B. You put it there. Then you click on add course. Now, this one is optional, you can see. So you may not even put this name of course, and you just put the course. Okay, the second course, what did you get? Maybe the second course is business analytics or business introduction to business. And how many credit units is that one? Maybe it's 1 credit unit. And you got a A, you put it there. All right. So you keep on adding them. You keep on adding them. You can bet that I can't take my time to do this in this particular live session because you are going to add all the courses you have done from first semester part one to first semester part two, year three, year four to your last semester. You are just going to add everything straight. When you finish your first semester, you had another semester. So this is going to take time. I'm going to make a video on how to do that. I'm going to make a full video on how to do it. So when you are finished, this list is definitely going to get to maybe 50, or depending on the number of courses you did in your undergraduate. When you have done everything, you just click on calculate CGPA. So as you can see, once you click on calculate CGPA, did you see what it brings out? So it brings out 3.33 over 4.0. It brings out the course and all of that. And now look at what they wrote here. Note the results of the free this thing is for information purpose only and may not be used as a proof of course completed or grade achieved. If you plan on continuing your education in the US or Canada, we recommend using our credential evaluation service. Okay, so what they tell you is that this result is not what you will go and submit. You can't submit it. You can only use it for information purpose, and it's a reliable information. If you want to calculate another CGPA, maybe for another person, you can click on calculate another. So this is the way to use the free one. Now, if you want to do the apply, if you now want to use their paid tool, you click on apply now. Okay, click on apply now, get an evaluation. So you have to register, you have to sign up. Where will you use the evaluation? US, Canada, or wherever. You enter your email address, whichever email you want to use. Enter it. I think they send a verification code. So I'm going to make a video on how to do both the free evaluation and the paid evaluation. I'm going to make a video on that actually. So I believe I've answered the question, can the free tool be evaluated? Can it be the same? Yes, it's going to be the same. It's going to come out with the same or very similar, right? As you can see on their statement, on their platform, they've mentioned the fact that it's for information purpose, okay? It's for information purpose. So just stick on my channel. I'm going to release a full video on how to do the free version. I'm going to take a particular transcript, a full transcript. I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to do, the video on how to do the paid version. I'm going to walk you through this step right on my channel. So you can look forward to that. All right. Yes. So very soon I'm going to end this live session. If you have your question, please drop it on the comment section. I'm answering the questions now, so please drop the comment section. The West evaluation is a good thing. It's just that it depends on how financially buoyant you are, and also it depends on your application. It depends on your CGPA. If you have a low CGPA, I will encourage you to look for the money and do it. Right? It will position you it will position you well, for admission and for funding, and you can always use it for some other purpose. For instance, people in Canada who want to apply for permanent residency, I think there are sometimes having this evaluation, West evaluation, it's an advantage for them. I need to make more research about that, but it's what I have seen. So it's a very good thing if you have the money. But if you don't have the money, like I said, take advantage. What can you do? What I always tell people is, if you don't have something, you have something else. If you don't have money, you have another thing. If I don't have money, I have passion. For instance, I don't have money, but I can go a long way to look for information. And that's what you should do for yourself. If you know you don't have money, you must be ready to pay with your time and with your dedication. So you cannot not have both. Let me put it that way. You don't have money, you don't have time, you don't have the experience, you don't have the knowledge, and you're not ready to look for it, man, it's going to be difficult for you. All right, it's going to be difficult. So that's it. That's it. Any other question? All right, so I've mentioned some of the mistakes people make, and I want to wrap up that and then end this session. Remember, I said I'm going to drop a school that is waiving the application fee. So make sure you stick around so that you don't miss that. So, not being smart, I've mentioned that some of the mistake people make, having the wrong mindset, applying to unrelated programs, applying to few schools, applying to only big schools alone. Some of the things people do, and yeah, and also using AI and copy and paste material. you know, I don't even know what to do on this or what to say on this. And I don't want to overemphasize that. If the only thing you do is to use AI, for your application, for your statement of purpose, for your CV, and you just use AI to copy and paste, write, or just see a free sample online, and then you just copy it without changing anything or without using it to write your own, man, it's really going to turn on you. And some people get rejection. They don't know the reason why they get rejected. Funniest thing is some of these schools will not even tell you the reason why they reject your application. Maybe it's one of these reasons, but they won't tell you that sorry, we rejected your application because you use AI, or we rejected your application because it looks like copy and paste. They won't tell you. So some people make this mistake a lot, and then you just think because you make it the first time and you're applying this second year, third year, and still making the same mistake. So you may want to check what you are doing wrong. Don't use AI. Don't use copy and paste. Sometimes I may even share a material on this channel. It is not for you to copy, it's just to serve as a guide for you. For instance, I made a video on how to write a statement of purpose where I use a statement of purpose as examples right here on my channel. If you want a guide on writing your statement of purpose, please make sure you watch that video. Like I made that video, and some people will just copy it, copy and paste, and then just exact thing I wrote there, they are going to put, in their own statement of purpose. No, just take that as a guide. Some will use ChatGPT, to write the whole of their statement of purpose, and then they will just change few things. No, you can just take it as a guide. All right, as a guide. So what some of these things are good. AI is good for structuring, for several other things, but you should not solely depend on it. Maybe I'm going to make a video in the future, maybe how to use AI for official purpose, for in a good way. There's a way you use some of these things. It is not for copying from them and pasting. It's not for copying and pasting. It is not for it to even help you to change your grammar. Some will copy it and put it there that help me change the grammar. And then you copy what it has changed and then you put it in your documents. No, you don't do that. So that's another mistake people make. Some copy CV. I mean, CV is even still okay, right? They just copy statement of purpose online and then just put it, just submit it, just put their name on it. No, you must be ready to go through some of this. And that's why I started with changing your mindset. If you have been out of school for a very long time and you want to study abroad, you must put on that student mindset back, that researcher mindset. You must be ready to make research. You must be able to study. You want to send a cold email to a professor, you must be ready to read the professor's material or what professor have written on before. The professor has publication, you must be able to read part of it, even if you cannot read everything. You must put on that heart of a student and a researcher. It's all starts with your mindset, and that's why I started with that mindset thing. Started with that mindset thing. It's important you do that. The last thing I want to mention, because I'm wrapping up very quickly, this session, we're wrapping up this session. Please, if you are just joining, if you have questions, post it here on the comment section. I've provided some answers to some of the questions. If you have questions, if you are just joining, or if you have been here before too, if you still have questions, just post it there. Let me see if I've missed a question. I've explained West evaluation, yes. How do you get the transcript evaluated, yes. So I'm going to do more videos on that, the transcript evaluation thing. Okay, yeah. So the last thing I want to mention is giving up. Don't give up. There's this my brother, this my Ghanaian brother, Aaron Inspire. You can check his YouTube. He always mentions your dream is valid, and that's true. Okay, don't give up. Some people give up too early. They started and then they said this thing is not working. Probably they've been doing it wrongly. Even if you are doing it correctly, it doesn't mean it's going to work the first time, and that's why you need to have a plan B. and I need to talk about this. Don't burn the bridge behind you because you want to study abroad. Some people sell their, the only thing they have that they can depend on just because they want to study abroad. I've heard stories of people, I have had friends that have been scammed, because they are applying through agents, especially through agents. I don't want to talk about that. I've made a video on my channel here, about agents, using an agent for your study abroad. I've made it, the video is on my channel. Though the video has a little view, not much view because people don't like talking about this, but I need to talk about it. What do you do before you use an agent? If you want to use an agent for your study abroad journey, I make that video. You want to go and watch it, right? A lot of people have been scammed because of that, and then they give up that this thing is not working. No, it's working. Okay, it's just it needs you to put effort to it. But one thing I want to emphasize is don't give up. Maybe you have applied last year and you're applying this year again. Don't give up. Don't give up. Your dream is still valid. The more you do it, the better you get in these things. That's just it. It doesn't mean that you applied this year and you are going to get it this year. It's possible for you to apply and get it this year. Most times when you do it right, it will work. But sometimes disappointment comes, sometimes setback comes, sometimes rejection comes. Rejection is part of the journey, part of the process. If you have never been rejected, you cannot be accepted. You only value acceptance when you have experienced rejection. If you have never been rejected, you don't know what it means to be accepted, and you will not be able to appreciate God for the acceptance, for the testimony. All right. Kende has a question. I'm a licensed and registered secondary school teacher, 10 years experience. How can I use this to submit a strong application for a fully funded master's in chemistry or bioscience? I mean, you have two publications. Yeah. So you have two publications, you have 10 years experience. I mean, you have a strong package, honestly. Even your publication alone is strong enough. I will first of all advise you to check some samples. Just check on Google, samples of statement of purpose for what program, depending on the program you want to apply to, samples of statement of purpose for maybe biochemistry, PhD, and check what people have written, how they were able to tailor their experience, and you'll be able to see how to tailor your own. But it's very straightforward. Watch my videos on statement of purpose. You will see the structure of the statement of purpose. What are the structures that the statement of purpose should have? If you can follow that structure, the first thing, introducing yourself. You want to introduce yourself as a teacher, somebody who is passionate about putting out knowledge. So it's not just teaching secondary school. Your passion is about putting out knowledge, teaching others, about this, about that. You are not teaching them you are not teaching them, you are not going to focus on teaching them maybe chemistry as a subject. But what does chemistry entail? Teaching them scientific knowledge. Maybe you want to say you are passionate about making people to understand scientific knowledge, and blah, 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 and the like. So you don't want to tailor your experience to secondary school kind of thing. You want to see how you can broaden it, looking at the bigger picture. Why did you start teaching in the secondary school? It's not that, oh, because I couldn't find a job in this, I started, it depends. You don't want to put it that way. You want to say, okay, you started imparting knowledge to the young people because you believe they are the future of science and the likes, something like that. So think about a big picture. That's why I said you should study other people's statement of purpose to see what they are writing and how they are connecting those dots together. So because all of this is all about packaging, like I always tell people, how much can you package yourself? That's why I mentioned one of the mistakes people do is they are not strategic, they are not smart enough to put things together, right? So you need to be smart, strategic. What you have done, how can I package it in my CV, for instance? A lot of people serve in Nigeria, you serve NYSC, and then you say you don't know what to put in your CV. Some even participate in the election as ad hoc staff, right? They work for the government as ad hoc staff, and it's not in your CV, right? I mean, that you're missing something, except you have enough thing in your CV already. But that's another good thing to put in your CV. Some say they don't have any experience in community service, which is an important thing in applying to study abroad. Putting community service, volunteer service. Some say they don't have any experience. Whereas you were part of a church that gave free food to the community. You went for, should I say, like evangelism. You did outreach. You did free medical this thing in your church, and you were part of it, or your mosque. Those are things you should put at community service. So that's why I said this thing, you have to be strategic and know what can I put. I have this experience. How can I package it into my application, into my CV, and in a way that will make sense? You don't need to put it as church something. You put it in a way that show that you did a community service or volunteer service. You understand? So for your experience, you want to study some other statement of purpose and see how you can link that experience. Mention the fact that the passion that took you to, the passion that led you to going into teaching in the high school, your passion for the young people and how you want to expose them to science and the likes. And also, your publication is also there. So I want to tell you that you have enough. You have enough. Before I came here, I was teaching also in a secondary school, and I have I think more than should be up to like 5 years experience, teaching in a high school. Some people will be saying what is called secondary school. In some country they call it high school, and that's what I leverage on, right? I leverage on my experience on with the student, the young people. As long as it's related to what you want to go and pursue, it even makes the job easier. And even having two publication, man, is a lot. Also, I want to use that to encourage people. If you want to apply for PhD program, try to have publication also, in your field. But if you cannot, that's not a problem. You can leverage this thing. There's no one way to it. That's why I say use what you have to get what you want. Use what you have to get what you want. If you don't have experience, you should have the degree. I mean, in that thing. If you don't have degree in that thing, you should have the experience, working experience. If you don't have the experience, you should have publication in that thing. So, and if you now have all of them, that's a big one. So, if you don't have something that a school require, ask yourself, what do you have? Okay, or what other school can I pursue this thing in? What else can I look for? So it boils down to what you have, the information you have access to. You must be hungry for information, not information overload. You must focus also, because a lot of information are here online. People are bombarded here and there, and people are confused and all that. But the truth is, do what works for you and be focused and make sure that you are doing the right thing. So it's a very good thing. You have a very good profile, Kendi. Just look for ways to put it together. And you can also send your statement of purpose to me when you are put it together. You can watch that video that I made, and you can check some other samples online related to your field. All right. So I always tell people, check statement of purpose that are related to your field. I feel like share it now. Let me quickly do that also. I mean, I can share how to search for instance, statement of purpose. But I always tell people, don't do copy and paste. Don't just copy somebody's statement of purpose online and then just use it. So, for instance, if you come to Google, I always like to start from Google. Hope you can see my screen. You can type sample statement of purpose for economics. Okay. It doesn't matter even if it's master's or PhD, just get one. All right. So you can see different results. So this is somebody's sample, right? So you can study this. I like showing people things practical. You can study this statement of purpose and see how to write your own. Now, what some people will do, as I'm showing them now, and one of the reasons why I don't show some of these things is they will just go and copy this thing and then put their name and then just study the structure. Okay, like this now, what did this person do in this first paragraph? That's what you want to study. In the first paragraph, this person started with this. He started with his passion. And if you look at it, that's where he started with, the first paragraph. This person started with his passion. I am fascinated by how theoretical, blah, blah, blah. In the second paragraph, he started with his background, his background, academic background. I studied at the University of blah, blah, my undergraduate work. In the third paragraph, he started with this. So that's how to study statement of purpose. It's not to copy and paste. You want to look, what is this person talking about in this paragraph? and then you write your own. This thing is not hard. You are checking, but you are not. Now, this person started with, I am fascinated by how some people too will go and start their own with, I am fascinated by how. That's wrong. You know, that's very wrong. So let me stop sharing this. So this thing is, when you see a sample, study it and check what is this person saying, and then what can I say in my own case. It's not copying it. All right, it's not just copying it. What can I say in my own case? This person said this in his first paragraph. How can I say the same thing? So I just show you how to check for samples, and you can use the same for CV. Sample CV, sample this, recommendation letter, and all that. But don't copy. All right. So it's very important. You don't need to copy. I believe we are wise, we are educated people. So, and we can't spend 4 years, 5 years in the university and you don't know how to write something simple. That's one of the reasons why people get rejected. For whatever reason, they just copy paste. We can't just finish university and become lazy. We must be ready to put the work and search, write, and do all of that. So, yeah. So I think I've answered that question. Use what you have. You have a very good profile, Kendi, and everyone watching me, I believe a lot of you to have a good profile. You have good profile. You just need to sit down and put this thing together. And I'm available to look at your, at least for now, you know, when you send your statement of purpose, just give me time. I'm going to look at it. But don't send it when the deadline is tomorrow and expect a reply. No, because I'm a student also. I'm a student. I'm a teaching assistant, and I have a lot of work, ahead of me also. So when you send it like that, give time, and then we're going to look at it and respond to that. All right. So I'm ending this first session very soon. If you still have questions, I'm going to give in the next. How many minutes do we have left? So we have like less than 15 minutes left. I'm going to close this session, um, this live Q&A session. I believe you've gained a lot from this session. If you have gained a lot, let me see your comments on the, let me see you comment on the session. Let me see what you have gained. You can mention what you have learned, and if you have one other opinion to add to what I've been said, you can mention that in the comment section. Thank you for joining. And I remember I said I'm going to show you a school that is waiving, one other school that is waiving the application fee. Francis from Edo State, you are welcome. You are welcome. If you just join in, if you have a question, you can ask your question. You can just drop your question on the comment section there, and I'm going to try as much as possible, to answer your question, Francis. All right. So, like I've mentioned the mistakes. Please try to avoid these mistakes. Try to avoid all of these mistakes. Not having the wrong mindset, avoid that. Not organized. I want to encourage people to be organized. Have have an organization. Have an Excel sheet or a table where you have the programs you are applying to the school. Have it structured, and so that when you open it, be able to see the ones you have submitted, tick it. The ones you have not submitted, put their deadline to there, so that you know that, oh, the deadline of this one is approaching. Not being organized is because the whole thing can be overwhelming. When you, for instance, you have like 5 schools you want to apply to, 7 schools, or some people apply to 15 schools, right? If they are not organized, you can swap the document of this school for the other school if you are not organized. So you want to put their, because you use different statement of purpose, you know, for them. So you have to structure it well and put them in different folders and all those kind of things. So being organized, not being organized is another mistake. Applying to unrelated program, I've mentioned that. Applying to just few schools or just big schools alone, I've mentioned that. Um, Applying to schools with application fee waivers alone, with weak application material, you know, apply to application for waiver schools, but know that it is competitive. So your material must be good. Your statement of purpose must be good because it is competitive. And if you have money, apply to schools with application fee waivers too because they have less competition. I think I've mentioned that. And also, if you are just joining, I've mentioned how to evaluate your transcript for free before you do the paid version, all of those. And I promise to make a video on that very soon. I'm going to be dropping it on this session. on this channel. And I also have a school that is giving amazing funding package. Honestly, you don't want to miss that. I'm going to release the video this week, probably this week. And also, don't give up, okay? Rejection is part of the process. And I must tell you that, like I just shared maybe one of these days, I'm going to share my story also, where I started, how I started my application. I applied to 4 schools, like I mentioned earlier on, and I got rejected in 3 schools. I was accepted to one of them, okay? You can imagine how I feel when those rejections were coming, right? So to apply to 4 and you get 3 rejections consecutively, all right? So rejections are part of the process. You could be rejected for whatever reason, but sometimes those schools can give you reason when you email them. Can you give me a feedback on my application because of this rejection? You can even do that for the previous school if possible before you submit this next one. You want to add, you may not get a feedback. I'm not guaranteeing you get a feedback, but just to help you work on your application. So rejection is part of the process, and don't burn the bridge behind. I need to emphasize this before we close. Don't burn the bridge behind you. Don't say because you want to apply for school abroad and then you are selling all your properties and all that. What if what if a rejection comes? Then you become stranded. No, don't do that. Okay? Always have something to fall back on and have plan B. Have plan B, right? Don't just apply to this school and expect miracle. What if this one does not work? Can you have plan B? Even for your life, have plan B. This study abroad journey, this application, it's not 100% guarantee. We are trusting for it. We're trusting God. You are praying. And that's very good. I am a believer and I pray. So whatever works for you, do that, right? But don't just expect miracle to happen. So don't burn the bridge behind. Have a plan B for your life. Continue doing what you're doing. If you are working in a place, in a company or whatever organization, be faithful, be committed to that. Don't think because you want to go and study abroad and then you are spoiling everything, you're spoiling your name, you are not committed at the place of work and all of that. So please don't burn the bridge behind and don't give up. Pursue these things with focus and it's definitely going to, work. It's definitely going to work for you. Okay, so I mentioned the fact that I wanted to show a school, that is waiving their application fee, and I'm going to do that now. So if anybody have a question, this is the last moment that this is the last moment on that. I'm going to give opportunity for question and answer. So if you don't drop your question now, we may be ending this section soon. So there will be no opportunity to get your question answered, right? So yeah, so I want to share with you a last school waiving the application fee before we leave. Before we leave here, I just want to make sure that it's a school that I have not shared before. That are waiving the application fee. I want to make sure it's a school that I have not shared before. Okay, yeah. All right. So the school that I want to drop that are waiving their application fee, and I'm going to show you how to apply to the school. Let me share my screen so that you can see the school. Maybe some of you have come across it before, I don't know, but I just feel I should share. All right, so if you can see my screen, is the University of Notre Dame, all right? The University of Notre Dame is also waiving the application fee. It is not automatic, all right? It is not automatic. So if you check, they have funding package. So it's not a small school. They have funding, they have fellowship and all that. Let me look at it. Let's look at it together. Now let's start with the program they have. Okay, these are the programs they have. They have a lot of programs. They have biochemistry, and you can see their deadline. Now, if you look at this, just pertaining to the question somebody asked about deadline, you can see this particular department deadline is December 15th. Now, if you look at this school, their own deadline is February 1st. Okay, this one is December 1. You can see that those deadlines varies. So there's no single or one particular deadline. So if, for instance, you want to apply to a school that is February 1st, 1st of February as their deadline, don't target to submit February. You should submit as early as December or even January, at most January. Don't submit February 1st or submit the last day of January. No. So they have different deadlines. This one is January 1st. Okay, this one is March. All right, fall, March, that's civil engineering. So you don't want to be submitting close to deadline. You want to submit as early as possible. So this school have a lot of programs. I mean, they have tons of programs. University of Notre Dame. All right, so you can streamline this only to doctoral program or master's program and the likes. So, but now let's check about their application fee information. That's what we want to check. All right, so we check here application requirements. They have this. Let's click on apply. Or it will take you to apply. I want to check for the application fee. Okay, so you can see here application fee and waiver. So here they have their application fee here, right? And then they have how to apply for the waiver. So application fee waiver may be provided on the basis of financial need or financial hardship or to US citizens. So the one that concerns you is the financial hardship, all right? How do you submit? Start your application, complete the first two sections of the application, all right, which is application type and application and personal information. So when you have started these two sections, you will allow 24 hours for the system to process your information, all right, and then log in, and you will automatically see your fee waived. And if you did not see it waived automatically, they provided an email here that you can send an email to this email address to confirm what is going on with your application fee waiver, right? So this is very simple, and this is a very good school also. And like you see now, they have funding package and all that. So University of Notre Dame, you want to take advantage of that also. Sorry guys, so I don't know if you can see my screen. Oh, I think I've been sharing the wrong screen. All right, so this is University of Notre Dame anyway. So you can see they have different application package, but they have application fee waiver for you. So you can come and check this at any time you are free to do that. University of Notre Dame, and I just checked their page now. I thought my screen was showing. Sorry, my screen was not showing that. You can check the program they have. They have a lot of program. This is where they have their degree program, so you can come and check that. And I was mentioning deadlines, how we have different deadlines. Okay. So if you click on each of them, it will bring out more information about them and their deadline. So like I mentioned, the deadlines are different. So you submit your application based on the deadline. And remember, try to submit at least 1 month before deadline. That's what I usually target. Right. Yeah. So guys, thank you very much for those who have stayed up to this moment. Remember, this is the application season. Deadlines are moving close already. But I tell you, I'm looking forward to seeing some of you, maybe those who apply to University of Alabama, wherever you apply to in the US, we can always see each other. Things can bring us together. But put your best to this application, and I tell you, it's rewarding. It's very rewarding. It is only for those who are ready to put the work. Scripture said the race is not for for the swift. So remember to also pray. Back it up with prayer. Back with whatever you want to do to trust God, for whatever you are doing. So it's not just applying alone. You are backing it up with prayer. You are trusting that things will work out for good. And don't forget all of those things that I have mentioned. If you miss out on them, you can watch this live session from the beginning again. So till I come your way again, I'm ending this session. Thank you very much. Those who have joined, those who ask questions, those who joined from Nepal, and from several parts of the world. Um, Thank you for taking me to 1,000 subscribers. I celebrate that. And also make sure you stick to this channel, share our content with people as they, as they, as you see the need, as they need it also. You need this content, they also need it. So share the content with people. I'm going to be coming your way with several videos that's going to help you. And just to make sure that every one of us will succeed together. Thank you very much and have a good weekend. God bless you.